Welcome to another round of Charleston Battery Weekly here on OSG Sports and SDH Networks. Busy show, busy week. We're getting a bit of the review and the preview, and this week's show is brought to you by the letter P. Peter Boggeman from the front office is taking over the P block, and he'll let you know his perspectives on the week that was and the week that will be. Player Spotlight, Phil Breno. So this show is brought to you by the letter P, except for me. It's Peter, it's Phil, it's you, and it's me. Busy show. Peter Boggeman just around the corner to give his perspectives on the last week and get you ready for the big match in Tampa this weekend. So, after this commercial break, Peter Boggeman lets you know what's going on in the P block. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinski of Apolinski & Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back, Charleston Battery Weekly. It's the A block, which means, Peter, it's nothing changes. It's still the P block, isn't it?
It's the P block.
There you go. Peter Boggeman of the Charleston Battery hanging out with us. So it's the A block, which is always the P block. And with Poppy Miller having moved on, and we'll catch up with Poppy down the line in a separate 1v1, it's Peter now hanging out with us this week. And let's just go into the week that was before we get into the week that will be. And for Atlanta United 2, it was a long road trip. They come into town, a very young squad going up against the Charleston Battery, and the Battery put 3 on the board for the full points.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a great win for the guys to get it under their belt. Atlanta's definitely a young team, but it was a great win at our new home at Patriots Point to take onto the road to Tampa Bay this week.
What's the vibe been like in the community since you've been there to see all of this about the return to Patriots Point? What's been your perspective on the team coming back into town? And I know that when folks watch on ESPN Plus, the visuals are fantastic. It's very, very pretty. I know that that's what the ownership was looking for as a part of returning to the heart of the city. But from your perspective, what's it been like to see?
It has been absolutely wonderful just to see the stadium come together. As you said, our new area of town at Mount Pleasant, just over the bridge from downtown Charleston. All the work that's gone into Ralph Lundy Field, and the fans have definitely been excited for it. So the missing piece is just having fans at the matches, which we really hope to do soon. But obviously, taking all precautions in our current time.
And I know at the same time with the new ownership group and new branding and everything that has been unleashed onto the community that supports the Battery and things like that, there have been a lot of different ways that the team has kept itself in the city's consciousness while we've had this large gap having to deal with the pandemic and COVID-19. From the team perspective, what's the response been like for all of these different elements where where players are in the community, the ownership is always out there, making sure that folks know what's going on? What's it been like for you to see all of this part and parcel where all of this new approach to the Charleston Battery has come in? What's it been like to see the fan response?
Well, the fan response has been overwhelmingly positive, and we can't thank our supporters enough for sticking with us, through the postponement of the USL Championship. But it all definitely starts with, as you said, the new ownership. I think that, coming in, wanting to really change just the perspective and the approach to Charleston Battery, and it all started with the fans too, with Rob Salvatore, meeting with supporters, within the week of transferring ownership over to his group, and then taking that and bringing in their input and their wants and needs of what they want to see in the new stadium, as well as just the day-to-day approach and the interaction with fans. And so we've had a really exciting time with all the fans, and because they're not in the stadium with us at this moment, kind of giving a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look, doing some great Zoom trivia nights with the supporters group, as well as a tailgate, a virtual tailgate before every match, as well as a halftime update where some of the Battery staff members get on with any and all fans that want to join, and we kind of talk about the ins and outs of the game ahead, as well as kind of a halftime recap.
What's it been like for you having to do this kind of behavior in this new normal where it's not shaking hands and being out in the community and setting up shops? It's having to learn things from a bunch of different ways where it is Zoom calls, it is virtual, it is electronic. What's it been like for you from a front office perspective to do things in these new ways that everyone's discovering as we go?
Everyone, it's the new normal for everyone, and so we're discovering it, as we go, as well as all the fans as well, and we are definitely trying to connect with the fans as much as we can digitally. Have a robust schedule of content always going out before matches and even during postponement on social media, and communicating with our season ticket holders and our fans via email, whether that's your typical email blast, just kind of giving updates, or even just one-on-one. And I think the fans definitely appreciate the one-on-one approach, and I've really loved getting to know fans on an individual basis, and kind of getting to know their stories and their connection to the club. And it's definitely, every time that I connect with a fan, it's super inspiring.
When you're getting locked into everything that we're seeing right now, it is a sprint to get to the playoffs, and I know that the way that the playoffs are structured this year in the USL in 2020, it is the top two teams in Group H, and it's Tampa, it's Charleston, it's Atlanta United 2, and the Miami FC that are going at it this week. And so when you look at the sprint, when it comes to the team perspective, there's no such thing as a normal work day now, because everything is so amplified when it comes to preparation and getting everything squared away at Patriots Point, getting teams on the road, the logistics, and making sure that the season, which is compressed, goes off without a hitch in a very short period of time. I think that probably presents some challenges too, yeah?
Absolutely. I think from an operational standpoint, there are our COO, Mike Kelleher, and the operations team, and even coach and his staff. There's a lot that goes into the everyday. And then from us on the more of the front office side and communications and marketing side, we're just trying to make sure that we're always keeping the fans as connected to the next matchup, whether it's a preview, whether it's just feeding off of the game footage from the previous match, and which is a lot more fun after a win like Atlanta last week as well. But we have 3 games in about 7 days, a road stretch ahead of us, and so there's definitely going to be some quick turns, both on the training side and the player side, as well as even on the front office and operations side.
All right, so let's get into that first match in this 7-day period. It is hopping on a bus, which is also what the USL wanted to do when they came to figuring out their group structure. Hopping on a bus, going 7 hours from Charleston to Tampa, and this is right now for the top 2 positions in Group H, coming into this one Tampa with 8 points, Charleston Battery with 6, Atlanta United with their win midweek. They're now at 4 points, kind of looking at what's going on with Tampa and the Charleston Battery. As you've gotten your research squared away for the matchup against Tampa, what have you found out, and what do you think?
Well, overall for Group H, with Atlanta United too having that win against the Miami FC the other day, definitely has made things a little bit more interesting. But we're definitely looking up at Tampa Bay Rowdies and that Group H. We're just sitting 2 points behind them. We get a win on Friday night, then we ascend, to the top of the pack. And I really think that this is going to be a really good first test of what we hope is a really fun rivalry between, at least for the shortened season, with Tampa Bay, and hoping, we're going to be neck and neck in those Group H standings and take it over to the round of 16 in the playoffs. Peter
Boggeman of the Battery hanging out with us for another couple of minutes here in his version of the P Block here on Charleston Battery Weekly. Player Spotlight with Phil Breno coming up just around the corner. So there's a tie here. And the fun thing about Group H is that there are player ties, and Romario Williams being one of them. He has ties to 3 of the 4 teams in the group, with Atlanta United, to Charleston, and Miami. And there's a fun tie with Charleston, although it may not necessarily be a fun tie with Mike Anhauser as he heads to Alang to take on the Rowdies. A fun tie in this matchup up as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we're looking at some familiar faces on a revamped Tampa Bay roster. Former Battery, defender Forrest Lasso seems to be a key piece in that Rowdies back line. And but he did a lot of work for the Battery with 60 appearances and 10 goals during his time in Charleston. So definitely familiar to coach, and as well as some of the veterans that have played with Forrest.
So we'll keep an eye on the broadcast plans. At the end of the show, once again, we'll give you a reminder as to how to keep an eye on everything on ESPN+. Blatant promo time for folks who want to keep an eye on everything Charleston Battery across all the social media platforms, in addition to watching the games on ESPN+ and locally when they do come on local television. How do folks keep an eye on everything Charleston Battery?
Well, the big thing is following along, as you said, on ESPN+. But we have a lot of fun going on social media leading up to the match, as well as during the match. On Twitter, folks can follow us at CHAS_Battery or CHAS_Battery on Twitter, as I said, and then also on Instagram, just at Charleston Battery. So lots of fun content coming out there.
Peter Boggeman of the Charleston Battery. It's his version of the P Block this week. Peter, thanks for hanging out with us on Battery Weekly. We will be keeping an eye on everything going on, and we'll catch up with you around the corner. Thanks for hanging out with us on the show.
Thank you so much.
When we come back, Player Spotlight, Phil Breno, the guy between the sticks, who's going to make sure, from a Charleston Battery perspective, that anything that is sent his way by the Tampa Bay Rowdies does not get behind him. Phil Breno, Player Spotlight, coming up. You're listening to Battery Weekly on OSG Sports and SDH Networks. We'll be right back after this.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinsky of Apolinsky and Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back, Charleston Battery Weekly Player Spotlight. Time to catch up with the guy between the sticks, Phil Breno, who's had a good run as of late. First and foremost, how was the trip?
It was long. Got to say that for sure. It was raining, but other than that, it was good. Got to rest a little bit. Watched a few good movies. So
what'd you watch?
Let's see here. We watched this, I don't want to say it's a murder mystery, but it's called Fantasy Island. It's about how to describe
it's like the remake of the old TV series, but it sounded like it was a little darker.
Exactly, and you know what? That's my goalkeeper coach, Dusty Hudak. He got these from the Red Box, and there's all these remade movies from the 80s, 90s that I didn't grow up watching because they were probably rated R at that time or whatever it was. And he's just like, gosh, I am old, because he's just talking about how I had no clue what they were. And, he was just like, all right, Phil, you choose a movie. I'm like, I don't know what this one is. I don't know what that one is. And it's like Bad Boys or, I don't know, this other one. He's just like, wow, yeah, you have no culture from that time period.
Okay, because I remember the newest Bad Boys movie was a way just to get Will Smith and Martin Lawrence back together for another round of doing the Bad Boys series. So that one I understood. Bad Boys Forever or whatever it was called.
Yeah, it's called something. I think it was For Life or something.
Yeah, Bad Boys for Life. Yeah.
Yeah, we put it on right at first, but I was sleeping a little bit at the beginning of the bus drive. I mean, when you wake up at 6:45, you gotta catch up on sleep somehow.
How difficult is it? And I know that we're dealing with a short sample size here, but how difficult is it for athletes to not make sure that that they don't turn into pretzels after long bus rides, knowing that group play is going to be what it is, and that you can actually stay as limber and as active as possible, so you're not all twisted up by game time?
Yeah. You should ask me that in 3 weeks when after we get back from our third bus trip in a row. Let's see. Yeah, no, I mean it's like a league-wide mandatory rule that we have to get up, or we have to stop every. I think it's every 2 hours or 2.5 hours, whatever it is. I don't remember exactly now. But that's to circulate air through the bus, and at that point we can kind of get up and stretch and make sure that we're not, stiffening up. But just kind of being mindful, drinking water, making sure that you're not especially after games, holding any lactic acid in areas that maybe you've gotten a knock or just worn down legs or something like that. So you just want to make sure that you're flushing all of that bad stuff out of your legs and making sure that you can get those nutrients back in. So yeah, I mean, you find your ways. You adapt to the environment that you're in. We get a whole row to ourselves, especially now that we have to be 6 feet apart from each other, especially even on the bus. It's you can stretch your leg out, get your hamstring if you need to. It's a little more accessible for an on bus stretch if you will.
When
it's kind of funny.
No, yeah, I mean and I will ask next time that you're on the show about how you've been dealing with this kind of stuff. I mean, because there are some athletes that when they'll get into their hotel room, it's the roller cushion, making sure that their back is okay and that the muscles are there, and it's walking around, even though you can't necessarily walk around probably as much as you used to unless you're socially distanced when you do it, and you're peeking out all these kinds of things. I mean, it's a challenge these days.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my roommate Arthur, he has one out right now. He's about to go do it. I'm sure of it. He's about to roll his roller cushion out.
And sure. Right there with you. When you look at the early stuff from this season, let's just go back to the match against Atlanta United 2. Young side. I think average age for one of their rosters, I think it was 20 and a half, with a lot of 15, 16, 17-year-olds coming up from the academy for their early duty. What was What was it like going up against that side?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew, or I won't say we knew, but we kind of were anticipating some ways of breaking them down. But they were aggressive, really, I would say more aggressive on the ball than we had anticipated. Those, even though they're so young, they're actually very skilled players. And I think that we were. It was easier for us. We just had a little bit more experience, and we just kind of found a way to keep them out of our side of the half. And yeah.
How odd is it to do something without any fans?
Oh man, let's see here. Well, I don't know if you remember last year we did the Open Cup game against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Without any fans, and so that was strange. It was a nice little foreshadowing for what was to come, unfortunately. But it's different. You don't get the pregame jitters of the away fans yapping at you. Getting all that those juices flowing by any stretch, and then you don't have to worry about. On the other hand, you don't get that like motivation from doing something good in a game and then having that adrenaline rush. From fans cheering you on. So I don't know. It's tough. It is tough. It could go either way. But I think we're all dealing with it pretty well.
How much more mindful are you of surroundings and what you're doing when you do leave your apartment and you're out in the community these days?
Yeah. I am. I'm not going to say I'm a germaphobe, but I've always been cautious of making sure I properly wash my hands, and if I ever need to, use hand sanitizer. It's just being a little bit much more mindful now, and especially now with all of these protocols going on, it is we just have to know where we are and kind of know who we're around. So we are not allowed to go to certain locations. Obviously, non-essential locations are a big no-no for us right now. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to go sit down at a restaurant. We can only do takeout. Grocery store exchanges have to. We gotta have to limit those as much as we can. Just trying to reduce the amount of exposure. As the world's kind of trying to open up, we unfortunately kind of have to stay locked in and mindful and not slip.
Yeah.
Because one slip could lead to maybe our season having something wrong with our season.
Yeah, and that was why I wanted to kind of ask about how the trip was and things like that, because you're on a bus, you're on the road, you're following protocols, you're doing all these kinds of things, and at the same time, you're locked into a match that's coming up this weekend for really first place right now in group, and knowing how important it is in the new format, there's layers upon layers upon layers of all this responsibility that has to go on these days.
Sure, yeah, and it does. It is just like a little something in the back of your head that you kind of have to just block it out a little bit, but still be mindful of. Yeah, it's definitely something that every player has had to get used to, and we'll have to continue getting used to.
What's study hall been like getting ready for the Rowdies this week?
I've always Coach Anhauser has always been one for what we can do, and I've preached that whenever anybody else asks me about how are we looking, what are we looking to exploit. There are a few things that we're going to exploit. Not going to go too far into what specific.
You don't want to break any news?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe they're listening. Let's see. No, if you watched our Atlanta game, I'm sure you did. We got what was it? 2? I can't remember third one. At least two of our main three opportunities were from the outside working our way in. So we're going to try to exploit the wings, and we've been absolutely killing it when going forward and putting bodies forward into the box. We've just been wonderful. So we're going to try and stick with that and see where we can go with that.
And then defensively, obviously, there's guys like Tejada and Guenzati that are, first and foremost in the minds of folks when they stare at Tampa Bay. And then there's a rather large dude who plays at the back who has some ties to Charleston as well, and just cleared 100 matches in the USL Championship. When you look at their offense going up against you, I know that you have, things stylistically that you do when you're in net, but when you look at their offense, what do you see?
Yeah, I see speed. That's something we have to always be mindful of, and aggression and just experience. There's something that a more experienced player can pick out than that 15, 16, 17, whatever it might be, years old, and you just kind of have to be that much more locked in and kind of just be ready for really anything. Having more of a vision of the field, and kind of foreseeing something that could possibly happen, and kind of maybe preemptively calling out runs, especially for me. But we have kind of similar to Tampa. We have a pretty experienced back four, and so we're gonna try our best to stay connected and stay as sound as possible, and try to keep them as far away as we can from the box.
As far away from me as possible. Stay away. That's the defensive philosophy. Stay away from me.
Hey, if the other team would just listen to me, the games would be so much easier.
Phil Breno between the sticks for the matchup this weekend. He's number one. Top keeper right now for Charleston in between the sticks. He's going to be there for the game against Tampa, then the quick turnaround after that. Phil, as always, it's good to catch up with you. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Battery Weekly. Be safe and have a good match. We'll catch up with you on the flip side.
Thanks, I really appreciate you having me out here.
When we come back, we'll put a bow on a show. You're listening to Charleston Battery Weekly, OSG Sports, SDH Networks. We'll be right back after this.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinski of Apolinski and Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Time to put a bow in another show for Charleston Battery Weekly. Don't forget charlestonbattery.com for all of the information that you need to know when it comes to the team in the USL Championship. Sign up for the newsletter that the league is putting out so you can be kept up to date on what's going on in the league and with Charleston as well. Once again, uslchampionship.com, charlestonbattery.com. You can also pick up your 2020 merch there as well. Thanks to the guest that hung out. Peter Boggeman kept the P block in its form right there at the top of the show, so the A block is always the P block. Peter is helping us out there this week. Good to catch up with him about his perception of and thoughts on the week that was and the weekend that will be. Very busy 8-day period for the Charleston Battery. The match in Tampa, you go home. Wednesday, you travel to Atlanta to take on a very young and energetic Atlanta United 2 side that just got a victory over Miami FC the other night. Then you go home. Then you go to Charlotte next Saturday, so 3 matches in 8 days for the Battery. A very busy schedule as they get all their matches in hand in Group H squared away. 2 points, the difference right now between first and second as the Battery head to Tampa for that matchup. Also, thanks to Phil Breno for letting us know what's going on the road as everybody was getting ready for the matchup against Tampa. Just hoping everybody has a great match and is safe. And don't forget to watch on ESPN Plus a little after 7:30, I believe, on your ESPN Plus and however you access that large device or small. So it's Tampa Bay Rowdies and Charleston Battery on ESPN Plus. So thanks to Peter, thanks to Phil, and thanks to you for hanging out with me. I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the games.